So there are times when golf can be an incredibly complicated game. And certainly when golfers talk to me about how they get the club back on the ball, there's a couple of ways they talk about it. So they kind of feel they release the club using much more of the hands, which kind of, I would say, more modern style of coaching is considered a bit of a no-no. And then they talk about kind of, should I be releasing it more with my body? And interestingly, both of them work, but which one's best for you? Obviously for this video, maybe which one's most consistent for me? And if you've got a particular shape of shot, are you kind of mixing the two? So in today's video, I'm going to use my HackMotion to show you how much that club face rotates through impact and maybe help you understand how you're going to release the club more consistently to help you hit longer and more accurate golf shots. So years and years ago, Callaway did a bit of testing with their tour players and tested how much each player rotated the club face through impact. And it's degrees of rotation per second. And HackMotion is great because it measures kind of what my lead wrist is doing through impact. And interesting, when Callaway did the test, it was noted that Jim Furyk had the lowest rotation and Phil Mickelson had the highest amount of rotation. So that would tell me straight away that if we can maybe reduce the rotation, we might be a more accurate golfer. And maybe with rotation, there needs to be maybe a little bit more timing. So as ever, I'm going to use a bit of TrackMan as well for some feedback. I'm very much looking at club head speed and kind of what the face to path tends to be. So let's talk about what the two styles are. So the first one, which is kind of more of the rotational feeling, would be the one where if I look face on, it's more kind of toe up to the sky, rotating through to toe up. Whereas the square one would be more kind of the club face looking down and that wrist more down to the ground. And then really feeling that the hands aren't involved, it's more of the body turn that releases the club as opposed to that. A lot of golfers would talk about kind of rolling the forearms. So first one I'm going to do, which I would say is very much the way I used to hit it when I was a kid, so a long, long time ago, is I'm going to feel much more kind of toe up to toe up through impact. And we're going to have a look at the speed of rotation. Now the strike wasn't great, but we can see on TrackMan 83 mile an hour club head speed, 5.7 degrees from the inside, 4.9 degrees closed and 143 carry. So poor strike. But we can see on HackMotion there that the speed of rotation was 1,541 degrees per second. Now I know what you might be thinking. Is 1,500 a lot? Well, my thing would be, let me hit 2 or 3 like that and get that feel of the rotation and see how consistent that is and see how consistent those numbers are. Now, just a better strike. See a little bit quicker. Again, 6 degrees from the inside, 6 degrees closed and 151 carry. And again there on HackMotion, just under 1,500 degrees of rotation per second. And one last one. Even better strike. Again, very consistent, just under 85. 6 degrees from the inside, 6.5 closed, 157 carry, and again 1,600 degrees of rotation. Now, for me that feels very easy because like I said, that's kind of the way I learned to play. So the second way is instead of feeling that that club rotates open and then rotates through my arms, it's going to feel much more like the modern way of getting that leading edge much more in line with my spine angle, and then on the way through, more of the spine angle. This is probably more of what I do now, and let's see what the difference is in my delivery and what the difference is with the HackMotion. So speed, very similar. See, it very much changes my path. So 0.3 degrees out to in. Club face was 0.3 degrees closed. You can see on HackMotion there, just under 1200 degrees of rotation. So straight away there, we saw that it helps me swing the club on a different path, and the club face is kind of much more neutral to that path with that feel, which is kind of why I like it. But again, let's hit a couple and just see the consistency. So again, felt good, 84 mile an hour club speed, 1.5 degrees from the inside. Club face a little bit more closed there at 3.5 degrees. And we can see on HackMotion there, 1300 degrees of rotation. So even though fairly small samples, we can see that certainly the delivery of the club, when I've got less of this involved, the path and the face are much more neutral. Now, I know what you might comment below, but you might be thinking, that's great, but you can change that quite quickly. What if you're the type of golfer who's worked really, really hard on this bit, but coming into impact, the club face is wide open? So we can see there, 80 mile an hour, a little bit from the inside, but club face 7.5 degrees open. We can see on HackMotion, your rotation number would be lower. So if you are somebody who delivers that club face very open, we can see that wrist angle. We would want to feel more of that rotation through impact. So if you were a slicer of the golf ball, I'd be working on trying to get that rotation number up. And if we can get that rotation number up, we should see the ball curve a little bit up. Maybe not curve out that way, but hopefully get it curving right to left. So I'm not going to change the backswing, but I am going to change the way I feel I release the club through impact. Okay, so a great strike, good club head speed, path a little bit from the inside, but we see 14.5 degrees close, so definitely saw it curve. And definitely there we can see that rotation much higher, much more of kind of the drawy release. And that's great. And that's absolutely the type of thing I would be working on with somebody who slices the golf ball. Need to feel that we get that club face rotating better and closing more and a little bit earlier into impact. Now, if you're somebody who hooks the golf ball, like I do, you would obviously like to feel a little bit less of that rotation and hopefully try and feel that you could hit more of the fading one. Now, it felt exaggerated, and we can see there club face 6.7 degrees open, and we can see I'm not worried about kind of the different positions, it's the amount of rotation. That's the slowest one so far at 1,000, and we could see there as the rotation was lower, that club face is open. As the rotation's higher, the club face is closing. So I love the fact that when you go to a driving range or you're practicing, it's very difficult to get feedback on what the club's doing. Yes, you can see what the ball's doing, but if it's windy out there and the wind's affecting the shot, you don't get good feedback. Whereas to have something like this on your wrist, you can get instant feedback on, am I rotating too much? Am I not enough? Or am I somewhere in between, which is just right? And that's that ability to stand up, deliver the golf club how you want to hit the shot you want, and then you can look down at those numbers and, okay, I'm great with my positions, but also for me that rotation at 1300 is somewhere in the middle. And as a coach, I talk about this a lot in my videos. Feedback is key. Feel and real are so different, but you've got to make sure that what you're doing, or what you think you're doing, is what you're actually doing, and that way practice makes permanent, perfect practice makes perfect. Now, obviously, if you're watching this video as it's launched, or certainly in November, HackMotion have got some great discounts on this piece of kit. It's not that expensive to begin with, to be honest, for what it gives you, but the description below got the deals on, and if it's after that deal's finished, there'll be an updated deal in there. Now, if you have got HackMotion as well, please comment below. Let me know how you found it. Is it really helping you with your golf game? But what I would want to see is, for the straight one, I can feel, for me, a bit less rotation. If I want to hit that drawy one, I can get that ball curving right to left really, really easily. Shuts the club face lots through impact, and we can see my rotation there is up towards the top end. But, like I said, if how you release the golf club, it's a term that gets thrown around a lot, and like I said, there is the two ways. Don't be hard and fast and I have to learn this way. Learn what you're doing with your hands, particularly that lead wrist. You can put it on the trail wrist if you want, but for me, lead wrist. Get the feel of what you do, and it absolutely will help you strike the ball better, swing the club faster, and hit longer, more accurate shots than you've ever hit before.